Hey all, greetings to everyone. Welcome back to Samswar, your weekly compliance tracker. We are Samswar Advisory Private Limited, a one-stop shop solution for all of your compliance needs. As promised, we are back with the weekly updates related to global compliance. Before we proceed, let me remind you all to click on the bell icon below to never miss out on any regulatory update that might affect you as a business entity. Let's proceed with our headlines this week. Korea announces 2019 tax reform proposals. Korea's Ministry of Strategy and Finance recently announced tax reform proposals that will be, unless otherwise specified, effective for fiscal years beginning on or after 1st January 2020. The reforms proposed are as follows. Taxation of royalties for patents registered outside of Korea. The proposal states that payments made for manufacturing know-hows, technologies and information activities in Korea by Korean entities contained in patent rights outside of Korea will be deemed to be Korean source royalty income under the Korean Corporate Income Tax Law. Additionally, compensation paid by Korean entities on infringement of patents registered outside of Korea will be subject to a 16.5% Korean statutory withholding tax rate, including the 10% surtax. Gains on disposition of shares of Korean corporation. The tax reform proposal has included shares of a Korean corporation as a part of real property if the value of real property held by the corporation is equal to or exceeds 50% of the value of total assets. Thus, gain upon disposition of shares being Korean source are subject to taxation. This treatment applies to non-resident individuals and corporations. Introduction of new requirements on abusive transaction. Pursuant to the provisions of the tax reforms proposal, upon reduction of tax liability by an amount specified in the law for the coordination of international tax affairs, the burden of proof is placed on the taxpayer to prove that the transaction has a valid business purpose without an intent of tax avoidance. Tax on capital gains on in-kind contribution made for incorporation of Korean company to be paid in installments. Pursuant to the tax reform proposal, when a qualified in-kind contribution is made to form a new Korean holding company or convert an existing Korean company to a Korean holding company, any capital gains tax on the contribution will be paid in installments over 3 years, beginning in the 5th year of the in-kind contribution. Delay in enactment of Modern Slavery Act 2018 in Australia. The Modern Slavery Act 2018 came into force on January 1, 2019 and requires eligible entities to submit their first modern slavery statement within 6 months of the end of the first financial year starting after 1 January 2019. The commencement of the Modern Slavery Act 2018, New South Wales, which was expected to come into force on July 1, 2019, has been delayed. The Modern Slavery Act 2018 applies to businesses and organizations carrying on business in Australia with an annual turnover of at least 100 million Australian dollars. It requires such entities to publish an annual modern slavery statement which addresses the identity of the reporting entity, a description of the reporting entity structure, operations and supply chains, a description of the risks of modern slavery practices in the operations and supply chains of the reporting entity and any entities it owns or controls, a description of the actions taken by the reporting entity and any entity it owns or controls to assess and address these risks, including due diligence and remediation processes, a description of how the reporting entity assesses the effectiveness of these actions, a description of the process of consultation with any entities the reporting entity owns or controls, any other relevant information. Central Register for Beneficial Owner now effective in Ireland. The Central Register of Beneficial Ownership, as provided for in the European Union Anti-Money Laundering Beneficial Ownership of Corporate Entities Regulations 2019, is effective in Ireland as of late July 2019. The deadline to file information with the Central Register is November 22, 2019. Companies need to consider immediate action to file their beneficial ownership information prior to the November 2019 deadline and accordingly identify any beneficial owners or senior managing officials who have not been issued a personal public service number and therefore must now follow the new Form BEN2 process. Amendments to Companies Act 2013 in India. The Companies Amendment Act 2019 has recently received the assent of the President of India and accordingly the following changes have been made to the Companies Act 2013. Filing of declaration for commencement of business with the registrar. It has been notified that all companies incorporated on or after the commencement of the Companies Amendment Act 2019 shall not commence business or exercise any borrowing unless a declaration is filed by a director within a period of 180 days of its incorporation that every subscriber to the memorandum has paid the value of the shares agreed to be taken by him on the date of making of such declaration. Additionally, the company also has to file a verification of its registered office. It has also been notified that the registrar has probable cause to believe that the company is not carrying out any business if the company does not file the said declaration, and the registrar may strike off the name of the said company from the register of companies. Companies to take necessary steps to identify beneficial owners. Pursuant to the provisions of Companies Act 2013 read with Companies Amendment Act 2019, every company shall take necessary steps to identify an individual who is a significant beneficial owner in relation to the company and require him to comply with the provisions of Companies Act 2013. Corporate Social Responsibility. Pursuant to the provisions of Companies Act 2013, every company that has the prescribed net worth or turnover or a net profit during the immediately preceding 3 years shall constitute a Corporate Social Responsibility Committee of the board consisting of 3 or more directors, out of which at least one director shall be an independent director. Now, pursuant to the Companies Amendment Act 2019, the companies that have not completed a period of 3 years since its incorporation shall also constitute a Corporate Social Responsibility Committee if during their preceding financial years they have exceeded the prescribed limits for net worth, turnover or net profit. Additionally, the Companies Amendment Act 2019 also prescribes for transfer of unspent CSR funds to a fund specified under Schedule 7 of the Companies Act. That's it for today. I request you all to like and share our content. Feel free to comment below with any queries that you may have related to compliance. We will do our best to solve them. You may also contact us through our Twitter handle, Facebook page, LinkedIn page or our website. Links in the description below. Until next Tuesday then. Thank you.